Danae has this great recurring thing where at the end of a sin, she'll write, "I hate this." And we unfortunately have to take that out occasionally because you can't just have 5 or 10 of those in a video, but it's always entertaining.
Welcome to Behind the Sins, presented by CinemaSins.
Welcome to Behind the Sins, a weekly look at everything going on inside the world of CinemaSins. I'm Aaron Dicer, and as always, I'm joined by Jonathan Watkins.
Hello, hello.
And Danae Hughes.
On Discord.
We write for CinemaSins and TV Sins and do various other things inside the CinemaSins universe as well. What's going on Discord, Danae? Should we just make the whole podcast? Here's what Danae's saying on Discord.
Sure. That sounds like a great podcast to listen to. Actually, the chat is, they're trying to keep me distracted by posting adorable pictures of animals.
So wait, let me get this straight. Your relationship with Discord during the podcast has gone from communicating with fans because it's kind of fun and you can get information to a game where they try to make the podcast worse.
Yeah, I thought they liked the podcast.
That's right.
Aren't they on the podcast channel on Discord?
I think it's just a fun way to troll you, Aaron.
You know what? Go for it. That is certainly a high level of difficulty.
In fact, my favorite part about the question we will get to later on in the podcast this week, though, was that it said "Hi, Danae."
It is true. It is absolutely 100% true.
Hey, it's her podcast. I'm just hanging out till she tells me to go.
I am again consistently surprised and very humbled that you guys have welcomed me into the community with open arms.
It is Danae's world. We're all just podcasting in it.
Exactly.
That's how it goes. Let's just jump right in, shall we?
Let's do it.
Let's do the Sinside Scoop.
What's he building in there?
I've got a secret.
Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain.
This is a true story.
All right, we're going to take a look at the videos from the week, the process of sending them, how we felt about the stuff we send in general, and welcome to the dawn of 6 videos a week. Congratulations, we have made it there. I'm getting a look from Danae now that she may not know we're talking about 6 videos this week. Did you miss the email exchange earlier today?
Earlier today,
there was an email exchange.
We record this podcast in the morning.
Yes.
So
it was about an hour before we were supposed to start recording.
Yeah, it was about 9 o'clock. Yeah, probably this morning.
Yeah, no.
There was a curveball thrown at us this week because we had a CinemaSins got an extra video in, which was really cool.
Yeah.
So basically, CinemaSins goes down to 1 video a week in September.
Right.
But I had a bonus video pop up on Thursday.
How fun for us on the show. Did you guys watch it? Because I did not.
Yes.
I actually wrote on it. So
yeah, we should be good.
I've seen it a few times.
You can just look at cute animals on Discord when we get to that.
I can do that.
No, actually, you can jump in with your confused observations that will help us.
I'll ask questions that are completely unrelated.
But I mean, you've got Sylvester Stallone posters in your bedroom, so I don't know why you wouldn't want to talk about this movie.
All right, how do you know that?
The same way.
Yeah, well, you know.
The same way the narrator knows you're not wearing pants. That's exactly how we know everything. All right, let's kick it off with music video sins, TV sins. Then we'll go to music video sins, and then we'll finish up with cinema sins. First video of the week for TV sins was Modern Family. That's a Dicer Watkins joint. Originally, I think I had notated it as a Hughes Watkins joint, but that's just because my TV sins brain is mush. Like, I can't remember who writes on what. It's the worst thing ever.
Is it because we're writing a million scripts right now?
Yes, we're all of a sudden writing 2 a week, and it's just I have to get used to this, and I need to just start checking the actual spreadsheet when I do this instead of trying to do it by memory.
So who wrote this one again?
This was me and you, man.
Okay. I mean, I knew I wrote on it, but I was trying to remember if it was all 3 of us.
Let's talk about the show Modern Family in general, and I will start because I definitely have opinions on this. I loved the first couple seasons of Modern Family. And when I say couple, I literally mean 2. Third season is fine. It's fine beyond that, but it really started for me to decline in quality very, very quickly. And for reasons that are very typical for sitcoms. It just has a lot of the same problems that long-running sitcoms have. I enjoyed going back to the pilot and just re-falling in love with these characters where they were then. Because one of those things that sitcoms deal with is aging children. And I don't know that the children have, aged across the board as well.
I actually had that written down. I think Sarah Hyland might be the only one that has survived this. But granted, she was a little older too.
She was. She definitely
so that
was.
Probably helps. Ariel Winter's okay. But and you touched on this in The Sins with Manny, and it has nothing to do with Rico Rodriguez.
No, not at all.
The actor, but the character of Manny. Oh my God. He's like I don't know if you guys watch Star Trek Voyager, but he's like the Neelix.
I don't watch Star Trek
Modern
Voyager,
Family.
but
Well, that's an interesting comparison because I did watch Voyager.
And you probably loved Neelix, so I apologize.
No, it's just I don't remember. This is the thing. Maybe I'm just a weird person, but I don't remember details like you guys do. Like when I see a character, it's not like it's just imprinted on me and I can recall it. Like I was listening to Sincast this morning and it just blows my mind. They're talking about Speed. Mm-hmm. I don't even remember what they're talking about. And I watched Speed like 3 times and I don't even remember the character that they're talking about. And
it's probably because you concentrate on things in life that matter. Maybe. We choose to remember Neelix from Star Trek Voyager.
But it's like, is this? I don't know. It's just one of those things about me that's so different from you guys.
Well,
I feel like
isn't it kind of a nice little refreshing voice though? Because,
I hope so.
Because I think you are have more typical of a mindset of the general
consume
viewer,
and forget it.
Right? Yeah, no. Yeah, exactly. With just general feelings of this is how this movie made me feel. I remember thinking this thing during the movie. Oh, I like that one person in the movie, and I don't know their name, but I like that person.
Yeah.
Like that's a more I think audience-wide reaction, whereas the more
you guys are like the super fans, though.
Yeah.
Well, and you also do a lot of research because, like, I had seen every episode of Sopranos. You had never seen one, but you actually knew more about the show than I remember because you had actually done current research.
Right. Which I can do.
Yes.
Thank you guys for continuing to help my.
Yeah, but you didn't
little
write on
ego.
this, so why are we talking about
That's
you?
right. Why don't we make this one about Danae? Everything else is about Danae.
You guys. No, I think it's interesting that you're talking about that part of the kids though, because I think what you were saying is about the acting.
It's not about
and
the acting,
writing.
though.
No, not at all.
No, it's about the writing. It's about the idea that the writers don't know how to evolve children characters to adults. So these adult humans now have the same characteristics as they did when they were 5 or 11. Or Manny is the perfect example. He is doing the exact same stuff at 22 that he was doing as a 13-year-old when the show started or whatever, So, and I know
that
those
also
numbers aren't
partly
right,
though is because he was, as you point out in the Sins video, he was like an adult kid.
Well, that's true as well. Yeah. But again,
still,
if you're smart, you have to evolve that. You have to figure out what that looks like as he becomes an adult. And
like the Dunphy son, I mean, he's whose name I all of a sudden forgot. But
Luke?
Yeah.
Luke, yeah. Who in real life is like a former Mensa.
Oh yeah, he graduated from college by like age 15.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
it's like that Phoebe thing.
genius.
People think that Lisa Kudrow is an idiot because she played Phoebe, but she's incredibly brilliant.
Right, yeah.
Or Blossom, that character. She's like
Mayim
a doctorate or something. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure. She's a freaking genius. Yeah, I agree with you on the Manny thing. He's because I still watch the show. This is one of those shows that my wife refuses to quit watching shows. So once she starts something, she watches it till the bitter end. So
I do too.
Okay. So you're still watching this?
I am still watching this show.
Oh, so when you said 2 seasons, you didn't stop at 2 seasons.
You're just saying you'd like.
I've
Yeah.
been watching a show I don't like for about 10 seasons.
No, but it has its moments still. I mean, it's not
still
like
does. Yes,
it's
absolutely.
not unwatchable.
Correct.
And the cast, the adult cast specifically, is very good, and everyone has really good chemistry. But that's an interesting point you make because like I just watched the 11th season premiere. This is the final season. I just watched the 11th season premiere last week, and It seriously, like, you could easily have just had that episode like in season 4.
Exactly. Yep.
And that was like 8 years ago. But yeah, no, but overall I like the show, and I will agree with you. The first couple seasons, in fact, the next episode, the second episode of the series, is one of my favorites.
Yeah, the show was
that's
really
the one where they
good.
write the song. Dylan writes the song about having sex with Haley. Do you remember this?
Yes, now that you mention
and
it.
sings it for the entire family.
Yes.
And then over the credits, they're singing the song like while they're doing things around the house.
Yes. Yeah. No, those early years are really good.
Yeah.
Danae, what's your experience with Modern Family? How much of it have you watched?
Oh, thank you for asking. Even though I'm not on the script, I appreciate. I loved watching this for the same reasons you did. Seeing the characters, remembering what we liked about them. I don't remember when I stopped watching and when I stopped being interested and kind of stopped caring about their development. But I loved, like, the thing is like the Dunphy relationship, Claire and Phil oftentimes is one of those things where Justin and I, my husband, I look at each other like that's us.
I was about to ask when you started saying that. I'm like, I remember watching it thinking, I wonder if this is what Danae and Justin are like.
No, you didn't.
You're just very the good parts of her. You're very Claire.
I am very Claire in a lot lot of ways, and
my
husband's an idiot like Phil in a lot of ways. So it's perfect.
Are you just like folding laundry constantly? Is that all you do all day?
No, that's definitely not me. Although I've gotten much better with laundry, but that's not the point. The kids were really fun to see, being young. But this pilot, I remember exactly where I was when I watched this show for the first time. We had this room in one of the houses that we used to live in that we decided to turn into a combo man cave / dog kennel room, and I hated this room with a passion. We'd only been married for like a very short while, and he kind of wanted to have his own space, and I honestly wanted him to have his own space in the house too, because he was annoying me a lot at the time still, but that's okay. So he's in this room, it smells like dog, and I'm trying to do the thing where I'm like, no, I gotta go join him in his space, we gotta be together, we're like married and crap, and so I'm in there. And he was sitting on his horrible pleather chair that was all cracked and like it was awful. It was shedding everywhere because it was fake, like fake leather. And
I believe you said it had chair leprosy. I believe you talked about that
it
chair.
It had chair leprosy. I hated this chair, but I was sitting like on the floor, like leaning up against it. He was sitting in the chair playing on his iPad or something, and I was watching this pilot. So this is where I was, and I just remember loving it so much because it was so different than anything I had seen before, and the adults were fun and unique. But they're at the very end when I'm not gonna remember their names because again it's been a long time and I can't remember their names for the show, but
Mitchell and Cam,
when Cam comes out with the baby to Lion King, I
that's great.
Laughed harder than I have laughed. I cannot remember a time when I've laughed. I laughed for so long because it got me. Like it's one of those
Well, the timing is so perfect. Too.
And it's just one of those things where you're not expecting it, and when it gets you and you just like you keep laughing and then you relive it over and over again.
Yeah.
Like when somebody falls down, you just keep seeing their face over and over again. But this one's actual humor and supposed to make you laugh instead of someone's pain. God, I'm weird. Anyway, I laughed so hard. And so as I was watching this for the show yesterday, prepping for the podcast, Justin and I were reliving that time in our marriage. We're cracking up. We were living like what the show meant to us. It kind of was a bonding experience for us to kind of laugh at each other a little bit more. And then also to date, he has never heard me laugh like I did through that pilot. He said, I'll never forget you being on the floor laughing so hard you had tears just streaming down your eyes.
It's a great moment.
So I love that it reminded me of those memories. The rest of it, I don't, whatever.
Yeah.
It's almost comfort food at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's talk about the video a little bit.
Yep.
What are some of you guys' favorite parts?
I guess I've noticed this before going into this one, but we mentioned it in this show. But I've started really to notice, especially with sitcoms, how everyone talks at full volume.
Yes.
In crowds of people. And then, so there's that great scene in this where, Mitch is like, I'm going to give the speech. And so we send, well, I'm pretty sure everyone's already heard the speech because you've been talking at full volume this entire time. And I know we're just supposed to, shut our brain off and just be like, that's supposed to be an internal conversation with them. But, they're literally in a crowd of people, talking at full volume.
I have to. This may take me just a little bit of time, but I have to convey something that I heard Malcolm Gladwell talk about. It's from his new book, and he actually studied, and we'll be talking about Friends here in a second. But he studied the show Friends with a facial, emotional. Facial expression specialist, and mapped all the little nuanced facial movements and how they relate to emotion to see how accurate it was. And in the show Friends, and this is very similar to other sitcoms as well, like Modern Family, it was 100%. Every time somebody was having an emotion, their face showed that emotion in all the ways that it was supposed to. Well, that's because they're good actors. That's what they're trained to do, right? The reason this applies is it also has to do with performative speaking. So the idea that they're speaking loudly and clearly and defining what they're feeling with, those words. The problem is we have been so trained to watch people who have 100% emotion match face that we don't know how to deal with the real world when people's emotions don't match their face. And so this goes all the way, he takes this all the way down the line to murder convictions of innocent people because they didn't show the right emotion after their loved one was murdered, or the police were like, something's off, that kind of thing. So it's really fascinating to think how sitcoms
have made murderers out of people.
Well, yeah,
psychopaths.
Kind of. Well, have
people who
turned
don't understand emotions.
Yeah, have turned us into, wanting everybody's face to be performative, wanting everybody's emotions to be right there for us to see on their face and in their actions and in their words and volume. So I don't know, that for whatever reason that made me think
That's
of that.
Really interesting.
It is a fascinating concept. Gladwell's such a great thinker. I love his stuff. But
I'm glad you went off on that because that's really, really fascinating.
Yeah.
It is.
Danae, what were you going to say about the video? I saw you starting to say something.
I like the boom mic in the mirror because because it's like when Justin and I, like I said, we watched this together. When he saw that, he goes, "Ooh, that's bad." What's really fun too is Justin hasn't ever watched any of the CinemaSins universe stuff. He's just now starting to kind of get into it. So he came over to watch the videos.
I think
with
he would
me.
be a CinemaSins fan. I think he would enjoy
really
it.
having a good time.
Yeah.
So, but his childlike reaction to a quote unquote bad one when you can see something that's really not supposed to be there, like a coffee cup or whatever. In this case, he's the boom mic guy, and he goes, like he gasped, "Oh, that's so bad." But then the joke is, of course, this is a mockumentary, and so maybe it's just part of the fun, but that was still kind of like one of those moments, just as somebody who writes these things that you look for those.
It was definitely accidental. It wasn't intentional. If anybody says, that the excuse is that it is a mockumentary, that's what the sin is saying, is like, that's a lame excuse. Because even in documentaries, you know better than to do that kind of stuff. But,
so I really like that one. I also thought it was interesting that there were two sins off in this, which kind of tells me, as somebody who writes, that there was a general love of the show, and that,
or at least the performances, because I think they were both performance-based sins.
Yeah, and I would agree with that because, again, I really loved a lot of the acting, especially from the adults. Phil and what's her face that I'm supposed to be like Claire, where again, just some of the big ones. But
there's no way I was getting through the script without giving Why the Face a sin off. Like, there's just that.
You're talking about Ty Burrell.
Yeah, where he does the WTF, Why the Face.
Yeah.
It's just such perfect delivery and perfect timing.
It's a reminder, too. These are characters that now we've seen them in so many other things. We've seen them in like orange juice commercials and coffee commercials, and these characters, these actors and actresses, they bled into other parts of media because of their popularity. And so but at the time I didn't know who hardly any of these people really were, except for old man
Ed O'Neill from Married with Children.
Married with Children, yeah. That's the only one that I had ever really been like, I recognize that guy.
And I love Ed O'Neill, and that is one thing I really enjoyed about this show early on, because I did not like Married with Children. Even as a kid, I didn't like Married with Children very much. I just thought it was dumb and gross. And he's even come out and said that, talked about how much more proud he is of Modern Family. But I took the scent off about him and Gloria, about Sofia Vergara and their chemistry. And I love that relationship because although in the first few episodes, I guess they do make some jokes about the age difference, but they kind of get away from that. And it never seems, at least to me, it never seems creepy.
No, I would agree with that.
They seem like two people that just fell in love.
Yeah, they never really take that creepy angle, and I definitely appreciate that. And the other joke that I wrote down that I really liked was that's gestationist. I really like that one. That one cracked me up.
The only other thing I would mention about this video is that of all the mockumentaries that have been on TV, this one does the least amount of effort to explain why there are...
Well, and you said there was actually a reason. At one point.
I mean, you would think, right? Like, I mean, yes, there was, and you understand that, right? Because if you're going to make a mockumentary, that seems like that would be step one, is to at least have the excuse as to why there are cameras all around all the time.
Never once questioned that.
Isn't that weird?
It's so weird. But I think it's just because you watch something and you just accept it.
Sure.
Well, like The Office, for instance, I didn't watch that consistently, so I never really thought about it. But then I remember I watched Steve Carell's last episode, and I remember at the end of it, he actually took the earpiece out. And that really threw me for a loop, because I'm like, oh, so this is like legit. They're being filmed.
Well, Pam has a whole possible fling with a boom mic operator in the final season.
See, that's what I'm saying. I didn't watch it consistently. So
yeah, they bring the mockumentary front and center
really
in that final season.
I'm probably going to be watching more episodes soon. I'm just saying. I don't know why, but I probably am going to be watching more episodes soon.
Maybe.
Can I mention a couple things, though?
Sure, yeah, go for it.
I love that, like, because I know we really try to not knock, like, child actors and stuff.
Sure,
but, like, I do love how we made fun of how terrible the kid goalie was.
Yes, that was so funny.
He was awful. Like,
it's like at least make an effort.
Also, on like you were talking about, we got a lot of comments about, or maybe you didn't say that. I guess I said that earlier. We got a lot of comments. There was a lot of people that loved the show and were commenting on it. And there was one about where somebody was defending Claire folding the laundry sin that we did, where apparently the actress was pregnant.
Yeah, she was.
And I'm like, that's fine. But dude, she folds laundry like that entire like in the 11th season premiere, she was folding laundry like crazy. She
folds laundry like we tell college girlfriend jokes. Like it's like
well, and I think it's like just like her thing. You know, it's like your character has to be doing something while they're talking. So you have, you know, it's like it's what you have to do with your hands. I almost feel like that's what she has to do with her hands.
Or maybe it's because she does all the laundry for a house with 3 children and a husband.
It makes sense that she's doing laundry. I'm the laundry guy. I'm the laundry person in our household.
Let's just say you should learn how to do your own laundry as you grow up.
I do the laundry at our house. I just want
to say no for the kids.
Oh yeah. My mom taught me when I was really young.
Teach your children to do laundry.
I think that may skip a generation. There's this weird thing where I didn't do any laundry I didn't know how to do laundry until. Well, I mean, to be honest, I didn't do my own laundry until I was married for 7 or 8 years, because I went straight from a mom to a pre-wife, you know. A
pre-wife?
Yeah, like we knew we were getting married by the time I moved out.
You let your girlfriend do your laundry?
Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Wow, yeah, I'm judging you.
Well, she wanted to.
I'm sorry.
At least she didn't have underwear to wash.
Well, back then she did.
Oh my gosh. Like if Justin comes home, Justin, he does his own laundry. I'm like, dude, take care of your own nasty. That's disgusting. It smells horrible. Like you can go do that yourself.
Well, we just take turns doing each other's laundry now. But yeah, no,
So you've evolved. Congratulations. Do your children do their own laundry?
Yes. Yeah. And so that's what I'm saying is like, I think, but since they're doing their own laundry, I don't know that they'll make their children do their own laundry. I don't know. It's weird. No,
you pull that parent card where you demand they do something to their children that you don't have rights to ask them to do, but you do it anyway.
That's right. The grandparent card.
I didn't have to do a lot of laundry, and I regretted it because then I did horrible laundry for a while. So also maybe teach your children how to budget. I don't know. Just an idea.
Just throwing it out there. All right. We ready to move on to TV Sins number 2, which is on our Friends run. And
the one where no one is ready.
Is the one we did. Can I just say it's my favorite episode of Friends?
Oh, no.
It is mine, too. I would argue it is the best episode of Friends.
I think it is.
Really?
I think it's all around the best episode of Friends.
And if we were to discuss the best episodes of sitcoms in general, this would be in the discussion for me.
Was it one shot?
Well, it's not one shot.
Oh, okay.
No, but it is real time. I mean, quote unquote, real time.
Did you not like it?
Well, I just watched the Sins video, so.
Oh, okay. No,
I have a very different experience.
I know you're not a big Friends fan, so that would make sense if you didn't like it.
Yeah, I don't remember this episode at all. I have zero point of reference for like, oh yeah, this is what happened in this episode.
So we should say another Dicer
video.
Watkins joint. So
we should just say Danae didn't write on anything this week again. I'm just a commenter.
That's true. You were like out of town or something, or
I had 2 weeks where I was working my other job and out of town.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and this is one of those weeks. But yeah, so I don't know what to say beyond that. Is I just think the real time stuff is very cool.
It's done well. They don't really seem to cheat that much. Although we do make one comment about it, but it's kind of one more of those. I'm a dick, so I'm setting it.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
And I just think I don't know that the cast has ever been better. I mean, we do make some jokes about how some of the subplots don't really work that well, like the chair. But at the same time, Matthew Perry and Matt LeBlanc are still, on top of their game. I just feel like this is the time of this was like the peak. This was when all cylinders were firing on this show.
I totally agree.
Is this when the actor that played Chandler was also doing a lot of drugs?
I'm not sure when that happened.
Don't know. Yeah, I don't know the answer to that.
I don't know the timeline on his struggle.
I was reading about his character.
It was painkillers, right?
Vicodin.
So painkillers.
Yep. Yeah, he went into rehab for that. There was also some methadone, amphetamine, and alcohol that he struggled with that he's talked about since then. So
he's always been very open about it. And,
yeah, he was, which was kind of a neat thing.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look back on that, to kind of know that somebody can function, they can be doing high level entertainment, they could be known by pretty much, most of pop culture, most of the world, and still be struggling quietly. And then that's just an interesting thing to note, just for us, like looking at our own personal friends and influencers in our individual lives and go, man, this person's struggling. I've got one friend right now who just started coming out really strongly that he's struggling with alcoholism, and he's like, I think today is his 20th day sober, and we've had a couple of conversations. I'm one of the people that I just message him like every other day or so, just to be like, hey, how are you feeling today, that kind of thing, just so that he has somebody to kind of like lean on, because he's been a functioning alcoholic for a long time. So like for Matthew Perry, he's just one of those characters in my mind that pops to mind as somebody who went through a lot publicly and has talked about it. So, but when I watch Friends, I can't help but think, I wonder if this is when he was struggling, and I don't know the timeline, and it doesn't likely matter, because
I feel like it's about midway through the show. So this is probably, at least if not right at that time, it's probably pretty close to it. He gets significantly skinnier.
Yeah, he really slimmed down. That aside, he was functioning at the time, and I was reading something that said that he was so witty, and is so witty, that the writers had to kind of keep up with him and change some of the things, because he would just come up with stuff on the fly, which was kind of cool. So
well, this is one of those, I guess you guys might have this too. I'm sure Aaron does, but you kind of develop like your own like lexicon, and your household lexicon is what an old professor of mine used to call it that.
Yeah.
Where, you and your wife or you and your kid are just quoting things. This is an episode my wife and I quote a lot.
Really?
Yeah, and the could I be wearing any more clothes? That.
Oh yeah.
But the Matthew Perry one that we say a lot if we're just joking around with each other is, I wrote a little song today. It's called "Get Up," and that's not the opposite of hiding. That's so not the opposite of hiding your underwear.
Yeah,
that's another one we say a lot. So this is an episode that we both just love to death together.
I really enjoyed writing on this one. It is our first real. Clear, bold stance on Ross and Rachel being bad. And people seem to really appreciate it. The top loved comment is just a quote of that, because he's a needy, codependent stalker, and she's a cruel and immature narcissist. And then they just have the clap hand emoji. Although they only have it 3 times, and I thought since it was Friends, they probably should have done 4 claps.
Clap, 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 clap.
Yeah.
I feel like that got noted somehow, and it got paid, but I don't remember now.
So we kind of come out strong against that. There's a lot of fun stuff here. The lines you mentioned, people were sad we didn't take sins away from, and I guess my response to that is, it's kind of accepted. That's the beauty of the show. Like, there's not. I don't know. Taking sins off is a weird thing, and we talked about it before. But I also saw somebody predict next week's video and predicted 5 sins off, and I was like, "You are in for a little bit of disappointment there, buddy."
I should also say, because when we launched the first Thursday video, Friends, I made the comment that I tweeted out that we were going to be doing Friends through the end of September. So if people don't know, we are going to continue 2 videos a week. And we are going to continue Friends through the end of October.
That is correct.
So you're going to get, I think,
hold on. How long
4
are
or
we
5
doing this?
more.
How long are we doing
Maybe
that?
forever, Danae.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we're just going to keep, just because you love it so much.
Thanks, guys.
But we're doing this through the end of October. So, and we've got an episode that'll delve into this a little more in a couple weeks, but this episode also shows, I always thought that the one relationship or friendship that didn't get talked about enough was Phoebe and Rachel. I think Kudrow and Aniston are just so good together. They play off each other super well. And you kind of start seeing that in this episode with, her trying to find her address. And there's like that whole bit where, Rachel's like, yeah, but you couldn't wear that tonight. And she's like, oh no, how would I wear this tonight? I'd be like, oh, look at me at my banquet. There's just this whole tit for tat with the two of them. That just has me dying every time I see it.
I've abandoned my OJ. Seemed to go over pretty well.
Yes, that was great. That was a good catch. That I still don't know sometimes how you see these things.
I don't know.
Corn level hummus stain was another one of yours.
That was funny.
I like that. Who would have thought that, going into, when we started doing this, I wonder how many people knew when we went into this podcast that they would find out that Aaron Dicer writes 100% of the porn
that is not
related
true.
sins.
It's 95%.
CinemaSins fans, when a video drops on a Saturday, that was that was really funny.
Yeah,
I remember everybody across the board really liked that one too, in the Sins family.
Well, it's interesting because it was funny enough that it bridged that that gap of usually we don't like to do things that won't necessarily age well. So if CinemaSins stops dropping old videos on Saturday at some point, people may not understand that joke, but it was funny enough and so perfect for what's happening now that we wanted to include it. And
absolutely.
And so it's kind of interesting walking that balance sometime. I will talk more about the Knickerbockers sin later.
Oh, good.
on.
I was gonna say I didn't know that, and my dad was a Knicks fan, sort of. I mean, basically. So growing up, that was the NBA team I followed, and I never knew that. Yeah.
So we'll chat more about that one in a little bit, but that was one of my favorites as well. So that's all I've got. Anybody else got anything they wanted to mention?
I loved the outtakes. That was actually the sins were great, but the outtakes this time were
what specifically
my favorite. There was the purple stuff OJ.
Oh yeah,
thank
the
you.
Sunny D.
I was happy about that.
That turned out really well.
It was so smooth. And then the other one was the seal sounds.
Yes.
That got me.
Yeah, both of those were mine. I had those were both, I didn't know if we were going to get to keep those because they were just kind of set the top of my head, but I wasn't sure how they would play, but they both played really well.
I really like them. Hey, look at me liking what you did, Jonathan. Huh? See? It's
do you want to talk about how you hate Rachel? You want to get that in this week?
Nope. I'll wait till I'm actually on a script.
All right, let's head on to music video sins, and we will take a look at the 2 videos that dropped on music video sins, starting with everything wrong with Ariana Grande, Miley Cyrus, Lana Del Rey. Don't call me Angel.
There's so much wrong with this, but go on.
No, you go on, Jonathan.
This song is terrible.
Yeah, it's not great. That's not great.
And in Barrett, there's a sin in there about there were 7 writers on this credited to this song, and wow.
It's just it's
it's just nothing.
The movie-based music video is just like when there's a licensed video game that you can tell that they just threw the video game together so that they could sell it when the movie comes out. And I feel the same way about these songs. I just don't get them. The video itself makes this great point about the whole point of the stupid song is "Don't Call Me Angel," which is fine. That's I get the sentiment. But the movie is Charlie's Angels, so if you're really going to mean that, change the name of the movie.
You're going to have Patrick Stewart saying "Good morning, Angels." I mean, how is that? How? Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't understand that, and I thought it was.
And I mean, and it's not like you can't have a good song for a movie. In fact, the original Charlie's Angels, or the first Charlie's Angels adaptation movie, the Drew Barrymore one in the 2000s, that was it or maybe it was the second movie, but the Destiny's Child song, Independent Women.
Throw your hands up, baby.
Yeah, that's a perfectly fine song.
Yeah.
At least there's something to it. But this is just. I mean, and you're wasting like three super talented people together like this, and I don't know. This just seems like such a waste of everybody's time. The movie might be too, though. Who knows? But,
well, that is yet to be seen.
Yeah.
I'm ready to talk about what I love in the video.
Yeah, for sure.
And it should be no surprise to anyone that the puns are always my favorite thing.
What? Weird.
The one where they throw a dart at the man's junk, and then all he says is bullseye is perfection. That's just perfection. It's just perfection. I also like Scariana Grande. I thought was great as well.
Good.
I always love those puns. What about you guys?
Contains no Kristen Stewart, just because that's pretty. I just say that pretty much about everything that she's not on. So. I just find her fascinating. I think I legit think she is a very attractive person, but I think she's really come into her own as an actress, and
she's doing good work.
It's just funny coming off having, because my wife was really big into Twilight, so I saw all those movies and hated them, and read a couple of the books and hated them too.
It's kind of interesting. Both her and Pattinson have survived Twilight really well.
Well, and I think I'm starting to think doing things like that, if they become a hit, are great ideas for many reasons, but the main one is they made so much money, they can just do whatever they want.
Right, they can pick,
and so they're actually able to take these chances. And,
well, and I honestly,
and it's working out really well for them.
I honestly wonder if there's better support for young actors and actresses that are coming up as
today
in youth, there is. Because you're seeing, at least this is my opinion, I think that there are more and more success stories rather than there being more and more people who get into horrible drug habits and wind up like just getting washed away. And like I know that not every actor makes it big and everything, but like you have scandals, you have, they were together, then they break up, and that's this intense fan base, and there's all this pressure, and for them to be able to somehow come through that, I believe that there has to be some really strong support for them, like whoever is talking to them and giving them advice and kind of helping them. I'm hoping that they have a really good support system. That's one thing about
it looks like both of them do. So
it's one thing about me, like as I've if I am interested in any of the real life drama of the actors and actresses from movies that I enjoy, it's that I actually feel really bad for them because of the level of fame and the demand and things like that. And so I don't know. Kristen's one of those interesting people who doesn't have the normal, like really emotive Reese Witherspoon style face, right? She's just kind of more like just a straight laced looking girl. And I like having that option as someone to look up to. Like that's my daughter's face. She has the downturned mouth and the straight eyes, and she doesn't emote a lot. She laughs and she has fun and everything, but her normal is just a nice big old, F off face, and it makes people very uncomfortable. And I like being able to tell my daughter, you don't have to smile if you don't feel like smiling. You don't have to hug people if you don't want to hug people. Like you don't have to do what you see people doing. So to me, Kristen kind of has that vibe of just like I'm just going to be me, and if you don't like it, you don't like it. And I dig it.
I think it completely validates the sin that we are having a Kristen Stewart love fest, and she's not even in this video.
Let me tell you what one of the ones I actually did have about it. I agree with you guys. First of all, I thought this was a mess of a song and I hated it, and I watched the music video before watching the Sins video again, so that was a waste of my time. But anyway, I was so confused with the whole messages of there's the what's the third girl?
Lana Del Rey.
Yeah, Lana. She has that bridge, like I can't lie. I appreciate the way you want me. I can't lie. But then the whole rest of the song is about, but get my name out of your mouth and don't call me Angel. And so I was just very confused about the messaging, just like you guys were talking about. But
was this the one where he wrote something like boner confusion?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I thought that was really on point. And then, but the point that was made too is, okay, I'll stop calling you Angel if you stop calling me boy.
Yeah, that was
and
great.
I thought that was really smart too, because it's sort of the same message. I don't know. It's just the rudeness towards men.
I can go with the song saying something about like being retributive on that. Like if the idea is they're saying boy because
right,
they're almost saying if you call me Angel, I'm just going to call you boy.
But I don't think that's what it was about.
Yeah, I don't know, but I can almost buy that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, but
I get your point.
But the other confusion stuff you're talking about makes no sense.
It was basically just like, let's look at these beautiful women in angel, like bad angel clothes. And at the very end, though, to play the sound clip from, I thought I was going to remember her name. We did her video.
Billie Eilish.
Billie, yes. That was a perfect example of like, here's how you can do a song and have it actually sound like something. And you have to think about the lyrics instead of it being this sort of just superficial slut fest. Sorry, I'm not calling them sluts. I'm saying that the song is a slut.
The song has had sex with a lot of people?
Yes.
Gotcha.
How many writers were there?
7. I will say that we haven't seen the movie. The movie hasn't come out yet. It is possible the movie will take more of a "Don't Call Me Angel" stance, but I mean, based on what just it's Charlie's Angel, so I mean, I still think it's legit to make fun of that.
Yeah, I agree.
But another thing I thought was funny, even though I absolutely hate this word, I'm sorry if either one of you do too, but perpetually moist.
Yeah,
I hate the word moist, but I thought that was really funny.
Well, because it's not wrong.
No, not at all.
That seems to be her fashion thing lately.
I absolutely agree. And I never thought about it till he pointed it out. But yeah, no, that's so true.
She's wearing too much of the highlighter.
The highlighter?
Yeah.
Please do explain.
It's a makeup product.
Okay.
It's very popular. It makes you look dewy.
Oh. Is that what
it makes you look like you've just been oiled up?
Yeah. They have it for your whole body. You can put it on for body shine. And then you put it on very particular places on your face so that, like, for example, if you're going to have a picture taken of you, it highlights certain angles of your face to make you appear more photoshopped.
God bless you all in the makeup industry, but man, you're making me hate makeup more and more the more you talk. Like, I don't understand. It's just one of those things I don't understand. It seems like so much effort to mess up your already beautiful face.
Well, it just depends on why you wear it. I think that there's so many that wear it because it's fun and
sure. No, totally. And this is what I've said. If you wear makeup,
expression.
If you wear makeup because you enjoy it and you like the way you look in it, take the effort, do it, whatever. That's cool. But if you're doing it because you think culture needs you to look a certain way, I just want to say you don't need it. You're good. Your face is already beautiful. I promise you.
And then what do you want to say to the people who just dip themselves in highlighter when they leave the house?
I want to say you look dewy. That's what I want to say.
The only other thing I had, though, was the really weird ending where Elizabeth Banks just shows up and is just like, this is not our house. Like, wait, what?
Yeah. It's just weird.
What the hell just happened? Yeah. And for some reason that reminded me of that Backstreet Boys video. Where,
Sorry.
Yeah, that one where they it's raining, so they just go into that castle. It's just kind of what this reminded me of for some weird reason.
The only other thing I wanted to mention is there's a Roma outtake in this Sins video where there's some water sloshing and then it cuts to the black and white.
Yeah, what was that?
That's from Roma.
That's what that's from?
Okay. Yes. I like in my wildest dreams, I never thought there would be a Roma outtake in a music
Especially
video.
From Barrett.
Right. So that made me laugh. Anyways. And I figured it was a starfish joke for me. So anything else today that you want to mention? All right, let's move on then to music from behind. John Mayer. Things you didn't know about John Mayer.
Ooh, this one takes a dark turn.
Literally my first note is this is the grossest of all the MFBs.
This most of the time it's just really hilarious, random silliness that you like.
Which it still is.
You're along for the ride and you're having a good time. This is like if you get on a ride, you think that you know what's going to happen, and then it skips the tracks, and all of a sudden you're like, wait a second, we're snorting dead people.
This is the quote. I wrote it down. He thought it rude to salt food with his brother's remains. Like, how's this in the video? It cracks me up.
I love the running joke with the walk hard, the Dewey Cox story thing about the wrong kid died was excellent.
Yeah.
Especially when it got to point where it was Jason Kidd showed up instead of Kid Cudi. The wrong kid replied.
Yes. Yeah. There were several great takes on that. And then the only other thing I had to mention, the quote pull that I had to pull out, what lung cancer would sound like if it could whistle.
I had that written down.
That is, I mean, just the stretch of the brain to go there. It's like,
I don't know who wrote that, but that was amazing.
I mean, whoever it is, I hope they're okay. I just hope Barrett's okay. This one was wild.
This one was the one that I really was curious how the fans were going to react to it because it is so different. So, but you know what? People are still in for the whole MFB, and so am I. I also this one was one where there were so many references I wasn't quite getting to, where I wanted to pause it and do some more digging so that I could understand it, so I could be in on all the jokes, which is the sign of a good video.
Sure,
you want to stay with the vein of a fandom. So, I mean, I know I watched this because we do the show, but I'm actually like a legit fan of the MFB series, even though it made me think about really uncomfortable things this week. One of my favorite ones was he was talking about being in the arts, and that like there's these different signs of being in the arts, and one of them was just generally being a victim. That one got me.
Yeah, that was great. I like the asides like that. There's the part at the beginning where it's like, we talk about his rise and his fall and whatever he's doing now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then like where he's talking about his dad, which I don't know what that's from, but that dad like dancing.
Yes.
Oh my God, that was funny. But I was dying laughing when I first saw that. But I like that little bit in there where he said, he was singing Daughters, a song he penned about the relationship with his father. It's like, what?
Yep. Yeah.
And then of course he did his John Mayer impression, which was also great.
I love that they made an Oscar Mayer logo. It's just great. It's good stuff.
They had that. Then they did like the Oscar Mayer products, like tampons and stuff, which was funny. The other one that I really loved was he went into why I didn't go into the home business because it, quote, had pig lips in it and bug parts. And then the response was, "It's not illegal, John." And I'm like, with all the conversation about how gross hot dogs are, it just got me. Well,
you don't want to know about your peanut butter then.
No, stop. I don't.
Yeah.
We've talked about the peanut butter before. I specifically told you never to bring it up again because I love peanut butter. You're so messed up. What is wrong with you?
Listen, did you forget? Do you need me to tell you again about the peanut butter?
What it is I've trolled you enough times that you've eurned a troll back.
There you go.
That's what's happening.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So go ahead. Tell everybody this.
Just troll with it, Danae. Just troll with it.
You can go ahead and talk about
No, the peanut butter companies are allowed a certain number of bug parts in the peanut butter. So they just have to keep it below, I think, 12 bug parts per a certain amount,
Whatever. It tastes
ounce.
good. So.
Yeah, exactly. As if eating bugs is bad. It's just culturally, you just think it's bad. There are entire civilizations that eat bugs as meals. It's just what they do. You're being culturalist, Danae.
Thank you for not saying racist.
Insectist. Anything else about the music from behind this week?
No, like per usual on the weeks we talk about it. It's funny.
It's just funny. It really is.
You should watch it.
I enjoy it. All right, let's move on to CinemaSins, which, yes, surprise, had 2 videos this week. The first one being Missing Link. This is the Leica Studios' new movie. Mm-hmm. And they do stop-motion animation stuff. In fact, I guess I'll just start there. I'm a huge fan of Leica as well. Mm-hmm. I think they do such great work. And when I was doing research for this on some of the stop-motion stuff, man, the way they're using technology is just so fascinating to me.
So did you write this in about the water?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
I did not know that. That was interesting.
Yeah, so that sin says, if you're wondering how they did the stop motion on the water, they didn't. It's a visual effect. You know why? Because it's easier. That's why. This sin is for wanting to make their job harder, you jerk. And I just thought that was funny because we do that, It's kind of almost like we're sitting ourselves in a way, too, by doing that, which I love.
For sure.
But they use incredible visual effects with the stop motion, which, by the way, doesn't make it all that much easier because the visual effects have to match the physical motion of the objects that are, that they're in with. And it's fascinating to watch some of the behind the scenes stuff for Missing Link. It's really, artistically, this movie is incredible. It really is.
It definitely is, and I love I love Lake. Coraline and Kubo and the Two Strings are two of my all-time favorite animated films, and probably just films. And Paranorman and Box Trolls are both really good. This was just fine, though.
Yeah, and I think it comes down to the story just does not work.
Yeah.
It's not great. It's not cohesive. It doesn't fit together very well. It's very it jumps all over the place. It kind of its motivations and destinations change so many times that I don't know. It's just it's not as well put together as those other movies, especially Kubo. I think Kubo's a masterpiece.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I agree completely. But it's just weird because it's like their other 4 films to me would be like A's, and then this would be more like a B-. I mean, it's not like it's terrible, but
right.
It's just disappointing in this context. I mean, if this was like an Illumination film, it would be like top of the mountain probably. But
oh yeah. I have so much respect for stop motion stuff. I love Aardman's stuff as well. I just the level of dedication is kind of mind blowing to me. I
kind of wonder because this just felt a lot safer. I almost wonder because they've never really had like just a huge hit. At least not on the level of, and I don't know how much these movies cost. I haven't really looked at the budgets, but they've never had like a box office hit like on the level of like a DreamWorks, Illumination, Pixar, Disney, whatever. So I don't know if that's what they were kind of trying to go for here, but still keep that kind of Leica mentality. I don't know, but like you said, the story isn't very well put together. The jokes are just kind of flat most of the time. Mm-hmm. And maybe that has something to do with Zach Galifianakis too. I don't know. Although his voice work is perfectly fine.
Yeah, I think he's fine. Yeah, I don't think he's bad.
Yeah, it's a perfectly fine movie.
Danae, have you seen it, Missing Link?
No, nope. Don't plan to now either.
I mean, it is beautiful. It is gorgeous. But
one of the things I love about stop motion, well, I like it in animation too, but in stop motion is when they get the coloring of like skin and how the light shines through ears and stuff. That stuff kind of blows my mind. This one seemed to have a lot of like sunburn on it though. Like everybody's faces were real red in very specific areas. So it's kind of like a visual choice that they made. I don't know. I just noticed it as I was watching the video.
I will say, Danae, though, my daughter loved it. I mean, I know your daughter's still very young, but
yes.
But maybe when she gets older, I think my daughter likes all these. I think whether she knows it or not, I think she's really into stop motion. But
well, and if you are going to specifically again seek out a stop motion movie from Leica to watch, and you haven't watched Kubo's your first choice.
Yeah.
Like Kubo and the Two Strings is it's a phenomenal movie from start to finish. So
yeah. This one seemed to not have a lot of like scary visual stuff, at least that I was looking at. I mean, maybe like something growling. So for a young person, I could definitely see this being one to introduce them to, especially since the plot doesn't matter when you're like 3.
Yeah.
They don't care. They're just watching it. But yeah, no, I hadn't seen it before. So as always, it's interesting to watch the Sins video first.
Yeah. So let's transition to that. What did you think about the video?
I loved it. I thought that the first one out of the gate was like one footprint in the sand, which meant that God was carrying me through it. As somebody who's seen that quote of God carrying you through the sand so many times, I was very pleased with that.
Okay,
one.
can I be honest? I'm super proud of this script. This was a Atkinson Dicer joint. And I, like, per capita, I think I wrote more great jokes in this script than I ever have before.
So,
I love my jokes in this script. Is that okay to say?
Well, it sounds like you did a lot of research, too.
I did.
It sounds like everything was well earned.
I definitely did. But
yeah.
This is the script that I was talking about that made me wonder if I should quit my job.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm serious because I wrote this script is so clever. All the movie references, there's folding in on other references, on research, sprinkled with pop culture. It's clever, it's on point, and it's making me question my job.
It shouldn't, because we all bring different things to the table, I think. And I think that's what makes a lot of these work. Yeah.
I know that. But sometimes whenever you're in life, you look at people or you look at like the bar. Mm-hmm. And you're at that place where you're like, I am never gonna hit that bar. I just either my brain doesn't work that way. What if I never work that way? And again, I have to just play to my strengths and have fun while I'm still doing this.
Well, now I feel bad. Now I'm not going to mention any of the other jokes.
No,
that I really like.
I think you should be proud of this because this one blew my mind, and it was and then I went to go see who wrote on it, and I thought, oh my gosh, that's part of it, right? Is just these guys are like the gods of the jokes.
No, I think
Chris, Chris for sure. Oh,
yes,
maybe
definitely Chris.
Maybe
No, definitely Chris.
But Danae, let me explain to you why. No, I'm just kidding.
Good one.
I honestly looked at my script on this and I was like, that is my first 3 jokes in this script. And it's one of those scripts where you get in a groove and you're just like, oh, my brain is doing some stuff and I love it. And so my first 3 jokes are, the movie is not a documentary on why no one has made a good Legend of Zelda movie yet, which is Missing Link would be the perfect name for a Zelda documentary. Then the Footprints joke. Mm-hmm. And then the Satan's bladder joke, the devil's bladder.
Which I also wrote down.
And I was just like, I am in a groove right now. And I was having so much fun.
Yeah, that's a good feeling.
It is fun when you're really like having a good time. I have a TV.
And by the way, it's based on a true story. I did have a neighbor that plays pop music on the bagpipes. Like,
God, I thought talking about Missing Link was based on a true story.
Oh, of course you do. Like, good God, of course you have a neighbor that plays bagpipes. Like, that just, there is nothing that sounds more like the life of Aaron Dicer than I have a neighbor who plays bagpipes. I think you live in a sitcom and don't realize it.
I forgot that you
Danae's like the goofy friend, you know?
That's true.
Kukalot.
Yep.
Yeah. I think you might be right.
We need to get some writing on that.
Anyways, continue. Danae, I did a little bragging there. I apologize.
No, you should. I really enjoyed this one a lot. And other ones I really liked was the Red Dead Redemption video game reference.
That was Chris, and that was perfect.
It was so perfect.
I've never played Red Dead, so
I haven't either.
People who have definitely loved that.
But I have played games similar to that, and so even though I hadn't played that specific game, I knew exactly what he was talking about. Where you ride in and you have to like go in and find something, and there's money hidden or whatever. I've played those games before and it had that cool vibe to it, and then just that casual reference, like got mauled by a cougar here too, just that the sort of like random reference before moving on. Just the way that Jeremy delivered that was super, super fun. So and then the other one that I wrote down that I really liked was it has been called many, many names, Valley of the Blue Moon, and then it's like, is he talking about genitals? I really like that one too.
Yeah, that was me.
I mean, I like.
You can probably tell by the term genitals,
because anyone else would have written balls.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Oh no, there was another one I liked. The swapping words around to make them sound better.
Yes,
that was so clever. We shape the world shapes us. That was from the movie, and then the joke is, since you have you've been broken any rules, or have the rules broken you, just using the movie to fold in on itself like that, that's really fun. So, well,
that's something I've always thought. People just switch words around to seem clever.
It works, though.
It does work. That's what's so crazy about it.
It works so well.
Yeah, it does.
It does it well, so work.
Wait. I don't. I talked about this earlier, but I think it was pre-show, so this might be in the outtakes. But the part where I don't know if that was you or Chris, about their faces not fitting together.
That one was Chris. Yeah, the geometry of it,
and that was perfect, because like you don't think about stuff like that, in an animated movie, but it's like I don't know how they would kiss.
Yeah,
like that would have looked really awkward. The Missing Link universe.
Yep. Yeah.
The run on those jokes I thought was funny. And it was excellent.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites. The only other thing I wanted to mention, actually, I'll mention this later in answering the question. Okay, let's move on to the other one before I get too full of myself. The other one was First Blood, and that was, I believe, a Cher Watkinson's joint.
It was.
Or no, it
no,
was.
That's right. Yeah, it was me and Barrett.
Cher Watkins. I think I combined Watkins and Atkinson. And
so for gotcha. Watkinson.
Exactly.
Watkinson.
That was
we're like Voltron. We just we merge.
That was a Cher Sir Hughes Watkinson joint. I forgot Jeremy in there somewhere, but anyways, so let's take a look at First Blood. Now, Danae, you didn't know we were going to be talking about this.
I was driving. I went back and looked at the messages. I was driving.
Yes. But we will talk a little bit. And I assume you haven't seen Rambo First Blood. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it came out at a time where you were watching more, action movies.
That's funny.
Fair enough.
But that's the interesting thing about this, right? This is one of my all-time favorite movies. And it's one of Barrett's too. That might probably why Chris put us on this. This movie's amazing. And it's one of those movies that has reputation has been a bit, I don't know if tarnished is the word, because I know people are fans of the sequels, but I think the direction that the sequels went in has changed the perception of this film, which is nothing like the other Rambo movies. This is a much smaller, more personal, he walks into a small town. They don't want him there. They arrest him and, just all hell breaks loose. I think this movie deals with a lot of interesting subject matters in a way that most action movies, at least what people think of as action movies, don't. This movie does a really good job of tackling PTSD, for instance, and just in general, like what they do to soldiers a lot of the time. The character of Rambo is a little broader and a little more specific to the fact that he was somebody that they, trained and made to be like the best killer imaginable. But I think just in general, I think it just tackles the idea of PTSD in a way that you wouldn't think a movie like this would.
Yeah, I agree. I came to it late. I think I saw it several years after it came out. But I totally get it. And it is so different than the other Rambos. And the things that make it different from the other Rambos are also the things that make it great. Like it blows my mind sometimes how Hollywood completely takes the wrong lesson from movie success. And it's not just Hollywood's fault. A lot of it's on Stallone. Sure. He got more popular. And because Chris and I actually did a mini pod on the new Rambo movie, which neither one of us liked. Did you like it? No.
Although
my thought was if you like what Rambo movies have become, you may have a great time. Like especially the second half of the movie is.
Wow. Yeah. No. I even disagree with that because I'm actually I like the majority of them, and I really hated this movie. But it's possible. You might be right.
Well, I don't know because I haven't liked the majority of them. I only liked the first one.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, the first one is in its own class. I've enjoyed the sequels for other reasons, but we talk about how in '85, Stallone released Rambo: First Blood Part 2 and Rocky 4, which are very much Sylvester Stallone is now a movie star, and this is what he's going to do. So, right. I think a lot of that has to do with him. I do think Stallone's underrated as an actor. And once again, I think a lot of that is his fault. Choices he made later in his career, especially in the late 80s. Yeah. But he's so good in this.
Yeah, he's really great.
He's very much he's I like my action hero where I feel like they can be they could be hurt.
Yeah.
They're not just in the later Rambo movies where he's taken on 100 people and doesn't get a scratch.
Yeah, I want Bruce Willis in Die Hard. I want somebody
that's a great example too.
Who's vulnerable.
Or even Schwarzenegger.
I think you mean Fifth Element.
Yes, I'm sorry, didn't I? Yes, exactly.
But he's really good in this. Brian Dennehy's really good. He's a good foe. Brian Dennehy also is somebody that's probably underrated.
You mean
David Caruso, and I want to say I did put into play the Scream. Barrett nixed it, but when we did the discount David Caruso, you're more than welcome to do that now if you want to, Danae.
Guys, I just feel like I'm getting a little better every time.
Yeah, definitely. That's what practice does.
But this was a lot of fun to work on, just because it is a little bit more of a serious movie than you would think it is.
Yeah, for sure.
While still being an action movie, so there was a line there we kind of had to play with, but I still think we got a lot of good stuff out of it. So it was a good one to work on.
Going to the video, boy, do people have opinions on the gas stations. It's there's this moment where there's all these gas stations, and you send the fact that there are this many gas stations on the same block or whatever, and people are like, "Oh no, that happens," and it's well, it's still a sin. And
it's still weird. Even if it does happen, I'm gonna send your town. That's totally weird.
Especially
and then
I think two of them are the same kind of gas station.
Yeah, I think somebody pointed out on Twitter, it might have actually been Joseph Davis, but somebody pointed out not only, there was 3 chevrons, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
I also loved Brian Should Be Deadahy.
I think that was Barrett, I'm pretty sure.
That made me laugh.
Yeah, that was good.
Made me laugh quite a bit. What are some of your favorites?
Barrett also wrote in the First Blood is a Christmas movie. I thought that was great.
Yes. Yeah.
Speaking of Die Hard, That's a Good Ass. That was also Barrett. And it is. That's a very good ass. He should be proud of it. The War of the Roses shout out was something I really enjoyed just because I think that movie's great.
Yeah.
I wrote this one, but I don't Frozen very well. Getting Jeremy to sing "Do You Want to Build a Snowman?"
No, I appreciate
Jeremy
that.
sings the wrong song. Huh?
I appreciate any time we can make Jeremy sing. I appreciate it. So well done. My sons are actually doing War of the Roses marching band routine.
That's interesting.
Marching band this year. So the actual War of the Roses, not the
yeah. No, I got you. No, that's really cool.
That would be hilarious.
Have you ever seen War of the Roses?
I have. Yeah, it's
a very dark comedy, which Danny DeVito directed it. So I mean that's pretty normal with his career if you followed his directing career. But that's got one of my all-time favorite final shots. Is all I'll say. It's great, and it's worth a watch. It's worth catching up on if you haven't seen it. Anything else? Danae, I know you don't have anything because you haven't watched this one, and I apologize. That happens.
Oh, no.
It was a surprise.
Hey, while you guys have been talking, I had it going silently on in one screen, and on the other half of the screen, I'm reading about random Rambo knowledge.
Ooh.
So I guess the one thing that I was able to see on the video quietly while you guys talked was that you guys send this video for not having logos, which I find very interesting.
Yeah.
So as the new person, I'm like,
it just starts first blood. It just starts right into it. It was really fun.
I can't hear Jeremy's delivery because that's just rude. If I was to play it in the background, like I even know my limits, guys. I know I'm random and crazy, but I have my limits. But it looked like he was like does not compute. Kind of had like a little some sort of brain explosion.
Yeah, he had a little bit of a. I think I labeled it in the notation. That's my one contribution to this video. Those noises. I called them something. I can't remember.
I don't remember either, but you did. Yeah,
it was a combination of aneurysm,
explosions,
and explosions.
I think it was aneursplosions.
Aneursplosions.
Yeah, that's the joke. Is aneursplosions.
Aneursplosions. Yeah.
Aneursplosions.
The beginning of the movie, though, just real quick, I wanted to point out that the no logos, but the Andrew Vagina thing was totally me. And that's a legit thing. Like, ever since that dude's name has started being on movie screens, like, the little kid in me always just goes Andrew Vagina.
Oh, yeah. That's just if you've ever been a junior high boy, anytime a word starts with V and has it doesn't even have to be a G. It could be a J. Doesn't matter. Your brain goes vagina.
Anything vag in general.
And I want to say he's been around since I was a kid. So I'm pretty sure I've been seeing that for quite a while, but I could be wrong about that. But I know that's always been something that's popped up in my head. So when I actually got to make that joke, I was like, yes.
Yes. Life complete. Check.
The only reason I took this job.
Do you want to hear one random Rambo knowledge?
Sure.
Yeah, let's do it.
Rambo's knife was custom made. Stallone selected a famous knife maker named Jimmy Lyle to design and create the iconic first knife used by Rambo. The goal was to create a knife that was reliable for extreme survival situations, including being long and sharp enough to slice food or cut wood, waterproof, hold necessities like matches and medicine, carry nylon string for fishing and snaring, and have an alternate blade of saw teeth for defense, and in order to cut poles for shelter.
Nice.
So they made this crazy awesome knife, like that I kind of want, even though I have no plans for survival.
Talk about the benefits of making movies.
Yeah. I think that'd be awesome. Well, the benefit of making movies, that makes me think of Lord of the Rings and all of the swords that were created for that, and how cool it was to sort of involve these really amazing artists who create these incredible things, but like here's a purpose for it. But I mean, this knife needed to exist, obviously, not just for the movie, but who doesn't need a knife like that that's a survivalist?
Yeah.
I plan on watching survivalist type shows now, like Naked and Afraid or The Bear Guy. And if they don't have this knife, then it's just not okay.
I love how your versions of those titles could be the same show, Naked and Afraid and The Bear Guy. All right. Anything else before we move on?
Anytime I can get a clue out taken there, I'm happy. So
nice.
I mentioned that. And then that one worked out really well. And then we've talked about, like, I know you've mentioned Barrett making one of your sins better, but there was a part of the movie where they're hunting Rambo and these two guys are sitting there, and then one of the guys says, "What's wrong with you, Clinton?" And I just said something that could have been said during the 1992 presidential campaign.
Right. Yeah.
I got put in the movie. And then Barrett went in and added all those other years. And it was just like, wait, it could actually work for all these years.
Yeah, there have been a couple Clintons that have run for the presidency.
So I just thought that was a cool. I like when that happens. When the combination sins are always fun to work out with each other. So.
Yeah, that's a good time. All right, you ready to move on to keeping tabs?
Yeah, let's do it.
The internet is a communications tool used the world over where people can come together to bitch about movies and share pornography with one another.
Oh, jeez.
This is the most public yet of my many humiliations.
All right, we're each going to pick one thing from the editing process, a tab we can remember having open that would be funny, embarrassing, deleted sin, anything that has to do with our writing experience this week. First. And Danae, you can go first since you didn't write this week.
Skip. Your turn.
Is that your Jeremy impersonation of how he does Skip?
I have been thinking of should we ever do like a voice share stuff, like a narration share that we've kind of joked around about.
Yeah.
I've been coming up with a storyline in my mind about who I would be and how I would.
Oh, your narration character? If you ever get a chance to narrate?
Yeah.
I would love to see that.
It's just something fun that I've just like started to imagine because I can't help my imagination.
Yeah.
It just goes.
What about you, Jonathan? What do you got?
So there was a bit in Modern Family where Julie Bowen's character is kind of like trying to explain the dangers to her daughter and her boyfriend about being in a room together.
Yes.
And how things start off innocently, and then what she says is, and then you're just watching Falcon Crest with Timmy or whatever, and then it's just this whole thing. And then she just mentioned Falcon Crest, so I was like, I got to be able to do something like that. So I did a Danae Stiles research into Falcon Crest, because if I watched that show, I was very young. It had 227 episodes, like The Sopranos doesn't have anywhere near that.
Yeah. Soap operas are crazy, man.
Oh my god. It was and then I wrote down, it was originally called The Vintage Years, which that's the other thing. The whole show too, it ran for 227 episodes, and all it's about is these people that own a winery, and they're like fighting with other people that own a winery.
Hey Jonathan, do you remember whenever we were going back and forth in our emails and you're like, I can't wait to figure out what kind of show you do like watching.
So you like Falcon Crest?
What if I liked that show?
That's great. No, this clearly had fans. It lasted for 227 episodes. I watched Dallas and Knots Landing, so I can't really comment.
I was just joking. I've never seen it.
Lana Turner was on the show.
Yeah.
For a minute, which I didn't know that. She's like one of my all-time favorite actresses, but apparently her and Jane Wyman hated each other so much they couldn't film scenes together. So they would have to film them in separate places and then splice them together. So they actually fired Lana Turner, which is just insane to me. But I guess in the 80s, she wasn't Lana Turner.
Falcon Crest is neither about falcons nor the toothpaste crest. Discuss.
That's true. Yeah, that's very true. Discuss.
All right, I have the awaited Knickerbocker research that I wanted to talk about, because this is kind of one of those urban legend situations where it's one of those things where anytime you mention it, people feel like they know the truth about it, and especially a lot of New Yorkers. And so I knew some people in the comments. And in fact, during the writing process, one of us was like, actually, that's not true. Blah, 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 blah. So here's the sin. I could do this thing where I just mention Knicks because they're the New York Knicks, but instead I'm going to sin that they are called the Knicks, which is short for knickerbockers, which was a popular fashion trend in the early 1900s where pants had really baggy knees. It's basically like waking up in 2119 and there's a professional team called the Los Angeles Yoga Pants. The retort that often comes back is that, well, no, Knickerbocker is actually just the name of somebody from New York. And that is true. But the reason they're called Knickerbockers is because the settlers that settled that area, the Dutch settlers, wore Knickerbocker pants. And so they got the nickname as being Knickerbockers, and then it translated to the entire city. So people just don't go back that extra step to know where it came from. So basically what it means is the team would have to be called the Los Angeles Yoga Pants after people from Los Angeles became known as Yoga Pantsers or whatever, kind of thing. So it's just one of those things where I've done the research, people, I promise, as I'm reading through the comments. And somebody in the comments said that the team would have to go by the name like the Gupants or something like that, or to, kind of shorten it like the Knicks do, or the
Yagpas.
The Yagpas, yes, exactly.
Now you know this forever.
Yeah.
And you'll do the thing where in 16 years, somebody will say something about Knicks, and you'll be like, did you know? Da, 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 da. And somebody will be like, how do you know this stuff?
Can I be honest with you? I didn't have to research this one. I already knew all that information for whatever reason.
Did you really, Aaron?
Yeah, I did no research on this.
What is going on?
That's hilarious.
That's just something I knew. That was just a little fact I knew.
I think Barrett might have been the one that asked about it.
Yeah.
Freaking
I was
robot.
just like, oh, that's interesting. I had no idea. Because I just believe Aaron. And I'm too lazy to check up on him. So.
Well, have you heard the phrase knickers?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so it's basically from the same style of clothing, except knickers were baggy underwear that were, baggy.
Yeah, and I'm sure I knew something like that at some point, but I just hadn't really thought about it in a long time. Because, that's got to be something like one of the first questions you ask. Like, what the hell's a nick?
And why would you balk it?
That's right. Yeah. So there you go. There's our keeping tabs for the week. Let's take a look at what you had to say in the comment section.
I want to know what you're thinking.
I appreciate your honesty. You're a real straight shooter.
You are the ones who are the ball lickers.
All right, we're each going to pick a couple comments to respond to from the week's videos. We can also do general feedback here as well. We do have a question this week that we will get to. I think, let's see. How many does everybody have? I have 2 that I could talk about. Danae, what do you have?
I'll just do 1 this week.
You're just going to do 1 this week?
Yeah.
What about...
Yeah, I've got a couple. I can totally just do 1. It doesn't matter. One of them's pretty quick, though. It was just kind of funny. But
yeah, let's just do the quick ones first. I'll start with mine. In the Music from Behind video, somebody says, Meyer in Oscar Mayer is pronounced Meyer. It's like, yes.
Yes, but we're not talking about
But we're talking about Oscar Mayer.
Which is something invented.
They also, said Mayor McCheese was adopted. And that, so I would think you would question that before you would question the Oscar Mayer.
It just made me laugh. Again, somebody
that's
decided
really
it was
funny.
worth their time to type that. I just, it made me laugh quite a bit. What's your quick one, Jonathan?
This is from, I love this name too. Groundhog Day 1993 is awesome. That's their name. But this was from First Blood, and they just wrote, heart of the story, he just wanted a sandwich. And I honestly have never thought about it that way, but that is seriously like if Brian Dennehy would just let him eat.
Everything would have been fine.
He would have moved on his way.
So many lives lost over a sandwich.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
It's sad. It's very sad.
Yeah.
Danae, what's yours?
Mine's from Vaughn Truesdale on Music from Behind, who had the epic revelation that this was all fake on this video of all Music from Behind videos, to realize 3 to 4 minutes in that it was like a hilarious farce. Dude,
that's past the twin getting salted, right?
That is past Betty White, the twin brother, living in the Midwest, arm wrestling babies, Oscar Mayer, tampons, McLean's, insensitive toothpaste, Magnum, killing the better son, describing his horrible death, using the dead son's salt on the table, and wanting him to be the better son. That's past all that. That's all in the first 2 minutes, and he said 3 to 4 minutes in. I had to stop because I couldn't even believe it.
I am increasingly concerned by what humans will believe.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. That's fascinating.
We're in trouble as culture.
Yes. Yeah. Or maybe we change. There's the optimist. The other one that I wanted to mention comes from the Animation Place, and this was, I don't even know what, I think this was on First Blood. And I just bring it up because it is a common comment, and I don't know that we have addressed it here. It has been addressed elsewhere, but this is behind the sins, so let's address it here. The comment is, with exclamation points. It says 15 minutes or less, but the video's 16 minutes long. And this is very simple. And I don't know why this is so hard, but it says such and such amount of sins in 15 minutes or less. The video is not just the sins. There are other stuff in the video that pushes it over 16 minutes. But man, this comment happens in almost every single video that's released.
Well, it's like if you take a show, like if you're just watching just the show Friends with no commercials, it's like 20 minutes long. But if you watch it with commercials, it's a half hour.
Yeah.
So it's the same kind of concept. The content itself is only X amount of minutes.
Right.
This isn't that hard.
It always cracks me up.
But we're happy to answer those questions.
Absolutely.
For you.
This is Behind the Sins. Whatever you need to know. What else did you have, Jonathan?
I just, oddly enough, this is something about, I mentioned Star Trek Voyager earlier and completely forgot I put this comment in here, but this was Gina G5. I think this had to have been on Missing Link because that was the one where Jeremy made the Avengers comment. She said, as much as I want them to do Endgame, I also find it kind of funny that it gets mentioned in a poll and then in a video and still hasn't been done. If you listen to Behind the Sins, though, Chris already talked about when it would happen. I wonder how angry everyone would be if he reviewed the last episode of Star Trek Voyager, which is also titled Endgame, before he did Avengers Endgame. I'd probably laugh my ass off. And I guess we can't do that now, Gina. So thanks for
ruining it for everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, you do not know me very well if you think we can't do that. I think I'm almost guaranteeing we'll throw a Endgame Voyager just to troll everybody on TV Sins. Look, we're doing
right. That is
on TV Sins.
That was the series finale. Oh, that'd be great. Yeah. That was the series finale of Star Trek Voyager was Endgame, and I had completely forgotten about that.
I may just write that one by myself and just drop it on the channel just for fun.
Hilarious.
It is really
It's a pretty good series finale, especially for that show, which was pretty mediocre most of the time.
Ready for this week's question?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, this question comes to us from Steven, who says, "Hi, Danae. I have a question for you guys at Behind the Sins." In fairness, I think this was directly to you.
That's right.
It didn't come through the email.
Yeah,
so.
I was tweeted at.
Hi, Danae. I have a question for you guys at Behind the Sins. What is your guys' favorite recurring sin that you like to use or see in the videos? Mine is always the opening sin, where Jeremy sends the opening logos, no matter how long they are, and every variation of them, especially the one in Fantastic Beasts. So what do we think? What are our favorite recurring sins? Jonathan, why don't you start?
I had, a more recent one. I had to write David Caruso in there. The CSI Miami thing, I guess, is more. That's kind of become one we've latched onto recently that I really like.
Yeah.
And semantics has always been one I've enjoyed. I might have even been the one who wrote that the first time, but I'm not positive.
It's hard to know sometimes, right?
Yeah. And I think even if I was. There was already a variation on it, and I might have just done something different. I don't remember, but I really like semantics, just because I just love that word, and I think it explains a lot. And then one that's a little more obscure, I guess it hasn't been used a ton, but it started with the Sinister video, calling like creepy kids Trevor. That's always been, and a lot of that. That's still my favorite. Probably my favorite CinemaSins video is Sinister. So I don't know. I just think that's hilarious every time we get to use it.
That's funny because one of the two that I want to bring up is the name sins, where you just throw somebody's name at the end, and Trevor is an example of that.
Yeah.
And I got a chance to do that in the Missing Link video in one of my sins for that, where I think it was about. Because she asks a question, and then, like, if she has permission to do something, then immediately does it without waiting for the answer. And so I said that's one of the worst things anybody can do, and then just ended with Linda or whatever.
Yeah, that was great.
I just love doing that because then all of a sudden it's personal, right? It's like,
and then people are like, wait, who's Linda?
Yeah, exactly.
Like it doesn't matter.
So I enjoy doing that. Danae, what's your favorite?
Well, I actually responded to Steven on Twitter because I didn't know if you guys were going to ask this one while I was gone. So I'm going to, my response was the working title ones where it's like, that's
interesting.
Where you guys will say that's the title of my CD that I'm working on, or funny, that's the working title of the second book in whatever series. Just those like clever like comments.
I thought you meant like the Sons of Anarchy, where it was like bro hugs and whatever tattoos was the working title of this show or whatever.
Yes. Anything like that where you're kind of taking something that's in the script and then turning it. So like in that same vein, like such and such would be really good at TV sins or music video sins or CinemaSins,
right?
Where something from the script turns into like a comment that's made becomes this whole other thing. I think those are really, really clever and fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
The other one,
which by the way, on a script Danae and I worked on this weekend, so I can't say which one it is. I wrote what is probably my favorite. Someone is good at TV Sins.
Ooh,
I was able to
wait.
just because the person's name worked out perfectly for it, so I was able to play around, do a little wordplay with it, and
yeah, that's my favorite.
Teaser.
That's my favorite. And that's the thing about recurring sins. I think it's worth talking about is to keep them fresh. I think you have to play with the form. I think you have to play, with how it's said, what's being said. I very rarely, although some cases I think it's, you just do it, but I very rarely just do a basic would be excellent at, such and such sins. It's either the verb is interesting or the name we call them is interesting, or, there's ways to kind of play around with it that make it fun.
Well, on that Friends episode this week, the one that we talked about, we did, that's the one we did, Phoebe would be feet-tastic.
Yeah, just that kind of stuff. The other kind of sin that is my absolute favorite, and I don't know that it's a surprise, I love alliteration sins. And I think the reason is there's something so satisfying to me about doing a long alliterative sentence that just works. And I will spend... I have copied into my notes for our show today my favorite alliteration sin that I've written. It was on Mary Poppins. I probably spent a half hour to 45 minutes writing this sin, just this one sin, because I wanted everything to be perfect. And it's kind of the perfect example for me at what an idiot I am on return on investment. Because I should not be spending 45 minutes on this sin that a couple people will go, oh, that's kind of clever. You know what I mean? But there's just something I love so much about, like the purity of it. If you can get every word in the entire sentence to start with the same sound,
it's crazy.
And not only that, but have it to actually be about something. Like it's actually a sin. It's not just that it's alliteration that makes it, perfect. It's that it's actually about a sin. And so like the sin I wrote on Mary Poppins, where they crossed the water on the turtles, was 2 turtles totally tickled to transfer 2 tremendously titanic troubadours toward terra firma. Though truth told, turtles are terrible transportation, too tired to tread the tide, typically translating to tragic terminal tales. And basically the sin is... they would be horrible transportation across the water, and you'd probably kill them. But I found a really long, laborious way to say that, all starting with the letter T. So alliteration is it's my sickness.
Well, and I will say, like, whenever I've noticed when I'm working on a script with you, I don't know if Danae, if you've noticed this too, but like I'll do I'll do alliteration, but I'll do like maybe 3 words, and then Aaron will write a note like, what if we did this? And it'll be like 20 words. And I'm just like, sure.
Sure. Yes. That.
If that's what you want to do, feel free.
Alliteration is where all of them have they start with the same letter, right?
Sound.
Yeah.
Usually the same letter, because usually that's the same thing.
Yeah, but it could be like, it's more, because you could do something with sounds where it's not, I guess.
Yeah, well, like the F.
PH and
PH
F,
and F, that kind of thing, yeah.
Yep. I will say also the only other one I thought of that was interesting is, I mean, obviously the college girlfriend is a pretty popular one that we mess with a lot. But I used to love doing I still do. I enjoyed doing the bands, coming up with all these different bands that the narrator was in or managed or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then we just basically, like, I'll just look up, like, the weirdest categories of music, And it might have even been you, Aaron. I don't remember when this started, but then we started doing these where it was like, Lick My Face is also, and then we would do the A, B, C, and D.
Like the selection.
I definitely wrote one of those without knowing of their existence. So if we'd done multiple choice sins before, I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. I can't remember. I mean, it's impossible. So I definitely don't want any of the A team to be like, hey, I came up with that.
Right.
So I just want to say I'm just guessing. But I feel like that was kind of a neat way to, like, still do those, but then kind of combine them into something different. Because, a lot of those, you'll have a college girlfriend thing and a band name.
Yeah.
And then just a couple of weird things that we come up with.
Listen, we need a wiki with all of these on them. It's just so much fun.
Yeah, it is a blast.
Danae has this great recurring thing where at the end of a sin, she'll write, "I hate this." And we unfortunately have to take that out occasionally because you can't just have 10 of those in a video. But it's always entertaining. Well, it's really weird though, because like it is interesting because like even if I really like something, I'm still writing for the narrator that doesn't like anything, right? So it is sometimes interesting to try to figure out if the person that sends you the script likes or doesn't like, their personal feelings about it,
Yeah. Well, that's
because I've even had where Barrett's like, "Man, I thought you liked this better." I'm like, "I do. I was writing what the narrator would say."
Right. And this is what we continue to say. Hello. You cannot tell a lick about what movies we like or don't like from the videos.
It's First Blood. I mean, Barrett and I, that's like I said, Barrett and I love that movie. We talk about it like all the time. You wouldn't know that from if you read our script. You would think we just hated it.
Fun stuff. You guys ready to move beyond the sins?
To infinity and beyond.
Somewhere beyond my wild history.
To boldly go where no man has gone before.
Let's chat about something from pop culture that we've seen recently. Can be good or bad. Jonathan, I'm going to let you start this time.
All right, cool. Hey, last week was network TV premiere week, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how big of a deal that is to people as much as it used to be. I still feel like a kid every time it happens. I get really excited.
Interesting. I kind of gave up like maybe 3 or 4 years ago. Where there just wasn't enough for me to care about what was coming out on the networks. And
I will say, I watched pretty much all the new shows, and then the stuff I watched, I watched the new episodes of the premieres. But I will say, partly why I've done it the last couple years is because of our job. But I just wanted to mention a couple things though. I will say that overall, like there was a lot of the new shows that I saw. There was a lot of like borderline stuff, like stuff I'll probably give a few more weeks just to see where it goes, but definitely nothing that just rocked my world. I did want to mention Bluff City Law is a new show on Monday night.
Yeah, we've got a buddy that's in that show.
That's what I wanted to mention. Aaron and Jeremy's longtime friend Josh Childs. I'm very happy to call him my friend now too.
I think best.
According to IMDb, he's playing a judge on this week's episode.
Yeah, at least on this week's episode, I couldn't tell if it was more than that.
Like, well, he made it sound like he tweeted out something about it, which is the only reason. Actually, that was the one I was going to skip, but I decided to go ahead and watch the pilot because I knew he was going to be on it the next week. And it's not bad. It's a totally watchable show. It kind of feels like it's from the 90s, and that might have to do with the fact that Jimmy Smits is on it playing a lawyer. But
right.
But anyway, so he's going to be on it this week. So I urge everybody to check that out if you actually still have the ability to watch NBC. And even if you have cable, you might not, because it's crazy. Like how many like these satellites and like DirecTV and AT&T, like they're losing network channels and stuff. It's weird.
Yeah.
Because of the contracts and stuff. So anyway, so that, and then I will say Mixed-ish, which is a spinoff of Blackish, was probably the second best pilot I watched. It was definitely the best sitcom pilot I watched.
What a horrible name.
Yeah, it's weird.
That's a weird name to say.
It is a weird name to say, but if you watch the episode, it kind of all of a sudden starts clicking, and Blackish is very funny and is not scared to go to places, even as a sitcom.
Yeah, I like that.
And it looks like Mixed-ish is going to be the exact same. And I don't know. Like I just thought it was very smart and also very funny. So I'm really looking forward to seeing where that goes. Stumptown has probably the best cast I saw last week. Like Kobe Smulders is in that, Jake Johnson, Michael Ealy, Cameron Manheim.
I do love Jake Johnson.
Not positive I know exactly what the show is yet, so that's kind of weird. But there is potential there. I mean, Kobe Smulders basically plays like a down on her luck former war. She's like a war vet, and she's just trying to make ends meet. She's taking care of her brother who has special needs, actually played by somebody with special needs, I believe, which is something I was highlighting last week that I thought was really cool. And she finds out she's pretty good at like tracking down like missing people and like maybe like helping the cops out with things. So it's kind of one of those shows, but I don't know that it really has much of an identity yet, but that'll be one to kind of watch on. But the one that I'm recommending, I swear to God, this is the last thing I'm talking about. The one I'm recommending, the one that I enjoyed the most was this show called Prodigal Son. and it's on Monday night. So we're recording. The second episode will be on tonight. Michael Sheen is in it, who is one of my all-time favorite actors.
Yeah, he's great.
So watching him weekly is pretty much an easy thing for me to do. But he plays an infamous serial killer known as the Surgeon. And then the main character is played by Tom Paine, who is probably most well known for playing Jesus on Walking Dead. But when he was a kid, his father was arrested, was found out for being the serial killer. So his father's been in jail his whole life, and his father was a serial killer. And so he's grown up, concerned that he might have the gene or whatever that makes him the same. And he becomes a criminal profiler, trying to use his knowledge of serial killers and his obsession with, studying that to help people. And it looks like it's going to kind of turn into almost like a Silence of the Lambs thing, where like he's going to use his father to help him solve cases. But it was really entertaining. It's got this. It's definitely like a weekly procedural structure, but it's got like bite to it. And it's kind of got like this underlying like sense of humor that really fits with my sense of humor. And plus, like I said, Michael Sheen's in it and playing like this crazy off the wall serial killer. So that's entertaining. Lou Diamond Phillips is in it. And this guy pisses me off. This dude looks younger than me. And I know he's at least 10 years older than me. So I don't know what that dude's doing. Maybe he's wearing, what was that makeup you were talking about, Danae? Maybe he's
highlighter.
He's highlighting himself every week. Does that help?
Does he look
younger?
dewy?
He doesn't really look dewy, but he looks good. Is all I'm saying. Halston Sage is in it. She was on the Orville. I think you watched that, Aaron, right?
Oh, I love the
Orville. She
Orville.
played the first security person that left the show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she's in it. She's Young from Scandal's in it. Aurora Perrineau's in it. She's Harold Perrineau's daughter, the guy who was on Lost.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's a really fun show. Like I said, it's probably not going to win any Emmys, but I highly enjoyed the first episode. I'm really looking forward to keep watching it. So I guess Prodigal Son is my recommendation, but mainly I was just wanting to talk about network TV premiere week, because for some reason I still enjoy that, and there might be like 2 other people that do.
Playing the role of Danae, picking a million things.
Yeah, you totally took the throne.
I know. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
I definitely wanted to mention Josh though, because
if he's playing a judge, I bet that's a recurring role. I mean, if it's a law show,
that's kind of what I thought too. Like
Night Court.
It could be like The Practice, where they have like 5 or 6 different actors playing judges, and so they'll just kind of keep. And I guess a lot of it depends on if the show stays on, obviously.
Right. Yeah,
I don't know how well the show did or didn't, but
well, that's cool.
But ratings are so different nowadays; it's not the same thing. So
very nice. I will go second. I have been neck deep in documentaries, which I think I've talked about. Running some nomination work for Critics' Choice in the documentary categories, and so I've been watching a lot. And I'm going to talk about Sea of Shadows. As a document, all of a sudden I'm feeling like maybe I've already talked about this. Have I talked about this?
No, but you went on Twitter and you put something on there, and you were having us guess what
because it was my first. Yeah, it was the very first screener I got.
And I got it because I know how to Google. But
that's right, you do. So Sea of Shadows is kind of like, I don't know, Scarface meets Blackfish. It's
okay. I'm listening.
It's the true story of this Mexican bay where it's just this beautiful area where all these different types of wildlife live. But one of the fish that lives there is only in this bay, and it has a swim bladder as part of this fish that is a delicacy in China. And by delicacy, I mean people pay $100,000 for every one, because they think I think their ideas about how it contributes to wealth and health, and so there's kind of some belief systems in place for this delicacy. And so basically, the Mexican cartel has taken this business, because it's illegal to fish for these creatures. And they have found a way to fish for these because they're the Mexican cartel and they don't care about breaking laws. So basically what's happened is because they are dropping these nets for these fish, all other sorts of wildlife in this beautiful bay are getting caught in these nets as well because they just leave them there. They're not actual fishermen. They're just,
assholes.
Well, thank you, Danae. Yes, sure. Exactly. And what it's doing is it has killed this very particular type of dolphin, or not dolphin, whale. It's the smallest whale ever. It's called the vaquita. And now there are less than 15 of them in existence, they think. And so basically this documentary is highlighting several different groups that are trying to combat this in different ways. And so it gets into kind of like the heavy duty cartel stuff, and it feels like almost like a drug movie, like Narcos on Netflix, that kind of thing. Again, this is a documentary, but it also feels like a wildlife documentary where it's about trying to save this species. And it takes some interesting story turns. Things happen that I wasn't expecting. It's beautiful. It's really well done. It's well edited. The story is told in such a compelling way. I really enjoyed it. It's a weird word with documentaries sometimes because the stuff going on in it. But it's definitely worth seeing and something that I think would be valuable to seek out. And I think you will see it nominated in the documentary category through awards season because it's really good.
Well, as soon as you illegally send me that screener, I'll be more happy to check that out. Report back.
Not happening. A lot of these great documentaries, though, are on Netflix. They've got a lot of good docs on Netflix.
Yeah, no, they definitely do.
That one, however, is not.
Hulu's getting in the game, too, a little bit. So
yeah, Amazon Prime's got some good docs, too.
Yeah,
so it's happening.
For sure.
What do you got today?
Oh, is it my turn now?
Yeah, finish us off.
I have multiple as well.
Of course you do.
But here's the thing. It's for good reason.
It's always a good reason.
I was looking for a new game to kind of get into. I played all the way back through Agent A after you talked about it.
Yeah. Did you make it all the way through?
Yeah, I got all the way through.
So much fun, right?
It was so fun. And I kind of wanted another adventure game like that. And I have been playing, the games that I've already recommended and those I continue to kind of keep in rotation. But I was itching for something else. So I went to the Play Store and I noticed something called Play Pass.
Oh, yeah. It's a brand new Google. Now, Apple's done this for a few months now, and Google just instituted theirs.
And so I had it available. So if you have an Android phone and you use Google Play, obviously, for all of your games and such, go check it out. You can get, 10 days for free, I want to say. And then the first...
I'm sorry, Apple did something first? Is that what you just said?
Amazing.
I thought that wasn't I thought that never happened, according to the two of you.
Hey, listen, don't loop me in. I don't know anything that I talk about. So I thought, okay, because I regularly try out games and I oftentimes will avoid ones that cost a certain dollar amount or more, especially once you get to the $10 range. That's pretty steep for me. And the reason that I'm mentioning multiple things is because, as I've talked about before, I use Google Opinion Rewards to get free money for just taking surveys from Google.
Right.
However, it's like they'll send me a whole bunch of them and then I get nothing from them for a really long time. And so I have saved up about $14 in my Google account right now, and I pretty much just strictly use it for games. So after the first 10 days of Play Pass being free, it's $2 a month for, I think, the first, I want to say maybe year or maybe the first 10 months or something, and then it goes up, I think, to $5 a month after that. And essentially, it just allows you to download a ton of games for free. So,
well, it's a subscription service.
It's a subscription service.
The idea is like Netflix for your mobile games.
But I could immediately go into my because on my I save ones. I bookmark them that I want to go back and check out later. I was able to go in and find a whole bunch of them that I have been interested in playing. So rather than tell you about a cool new game, I downloaded probably about 15 games on my smartphone.
Are we going to talk about all of them?
No.
Okay.
I'm going to try them out. I'll let you know which ones kind of make it to the top of my, I have a very high standard for my games. They have to be really well made, be entertaining. Oftentimes they have to involve some kind of cooperativeness with teams and things like this. But I was excited. So if you have any interest in this and you like app gaming, Play Pass might be something that you want to try out. And if you have any money saved up in your Google Opinions, you can link it to that. So the Play Pass is going to go through my opinion rewards money first, and then I'll have to pay out of pocket for it. So that's what I'm going to be experimenting with.
And here's what they're trying to do. And by the way, I should mention Apple's is called Apple Arcade, and it literally was available 1 week before Google's. So they basically launched these at the same time. Just so we're clear.
Just kidding.
You might have been kidding.
I care so little about this. I just knew it would rile up Aaron.
And it worked. Congratulations. No, anyhow, congrats to Apple on being a week early.
So bitter.
So anyhow, Apple Arcade and Google Play Pass pretty much do the same thing. And the idea is mobile games have become so dependent on micro purchases and ads. So a lot of the games you play will use ads to incentivize, game bonuses, or they'll use mobile purchases to incentivize game bonuses. And these two subscription services are trying to say, let's incentivize quality games. So design a great game that doesn't have spammy ads and, spam purchases and that kind of stuff. And then just pay us $5 a month and you can have them all. Kind of thing. And I think it makes a lot of sense. I think it's really smart. I don't know that I will do it because I kind of like doing the research and just buying the games I want to buy. Yeah. And like Danae said, I also use opinion rewards, and so I always use that money for those. But I think it makes a lot of sense, and it's really smart, and it kind of it allows developers to focus on new experiences, quality games, without having to worry about trying to figure out how to make a game that people will buy, for $3, $5, $10.
I don't play video games, so I'm curious. Do they have like a Netflix version for like Xbox or PlayStation where they have like 500 games available for like $10 a month?
Nintendo charges like a couple bucks a month for their service, and you get like all the old NES, Super Nintendo games, that kind of stuff that you can play on your Switch. So there's that kind of idea that the companies are doing. And then there's like Google coming out with Google Stadia. Have you heard of Stadia?
No.
This is a brand new thing that Google is doing where it's a monthly subscription, and then all the games are right there, not only available for you to play, but also in the cloud, so that you don't have to buy games, that kind of things. You just download the ones you want, play them while you're playing them, that kind of thing. So
very cool.
They're trying to figure it out. I think, subscriptions are the future of everything, it feels like. I've said before, I think our cars will eventually be subscription-based, where you just subscribe to a car company and you have... instead of leasing something or buying something for a monthly rate, you'll just, subscribe. I think everything's heading that way. People like to know what their consistent monthly cost is for stuff, and it just makes it easier for people. So there you go.
Okay, but the time that you added on to my Beyond the Sins doesn't count. I just want to let you know.
Well, I hope you don't have anything else to say, because your time's up.
Yeah.
It was taken by me.
I did, but whatever.
What else did you want to say?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. I thought you were done. I thought you were. So, what is your official
Play Pass?
Beyond the Sins is the Play Pass?
Yeah, I think Play Pass is a cool thing that I know that a lot of people know about these types of things, but I'm just trying it out. I am curious, like if I decide to stop my subscription, will those games still be available to me, or if I undownload them and then re-download them later, will I have to pay the full price for them? Those are the kinds of things I'm curious about, but I might not find the answer to that question, because I might be the kind of person who likes to download enough games that this would make total sense for me.
I wondered about that too, and I wondered about like the games I've already paid for that are in Play Pass. If I were to do Play Pass and then unsubscribe from Play Pass, would I then lose those games that I had already... Like, I don't think so, but...
I wouldn't think so, but I don't know the answer to those kinds of questions.
Yeah.
If I come across them, I'll absolutely share with you guys, because I personally, as you guys know, I love, 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 love gaming, and app gaming is an outlet for me to scratch that itch, because I can't go into long-form game playing like I used to be able to. So this is like my little world I get to play in, so I'm very excited about it.
Very nice.
Yeah, I enjoy... I've enjoyed video games in the past. I'm not very good at them, and it's just something I can't make time for. I do too much stuff.
Yeah,
you have to, at some point, you just have to give up certain things. Like Aaron was talking about, he doesn't read books.
True.
You do read, but like you don't weekly read novels and stuff like that.
Right.
Like I do. That's something that I do. So therefore, I don't play video games. So you just have to make choices.
Yep. I totally agree. There's lots of stuff out there. Yeah. And so that's Play Pass by Google, and the Apple version is Apple Arcade, and I'm sure it's amazing. I'm sure it's wonderful, and and it's beautiful, and Apple does a great job, everybody. Apple is a wonderful company that makes great stuff. So
please sponsor us.
Please sponsor us, indeed. Well, that's going to wrap it up for Behind the Sins this week, guys. Don't forget to make sure you're subscribed. Go ahead and leave a comment or rating as well. We would love that. You can hang out with us on Twitter. I'm at Aaron Dicer. She is at Danae Says.
That's DENEESAYS.
And he is at Sam Loomis 13. So for Jonathan Watkins, Danae Hughes, and myself, we will see you next week.
Thanks for listening. Send any feedback to behindthesinspod@gmail.com. And be sure to subscribe or message us at Twitter. And be sure to visit cinemasins.com.
Check,
nice.
I'm back, yeah. Are we ever going to be able to just start a show? Just start the show. I did save Jonathan's number this time.
Good.
I did it about 3 minutes ago, but I did it. And I texted Jonathan that we were having mic difficulty. Yeah. And he wrote back and said, "Is this your number, Danae? I just want to save it if it is." And I said, "No, this is Jesus. I love you, and please stop doing that one thing anymore."
That was fun.
Stretching is the best because we have to have mics and equipment and boards and all that. Mm-hmm. And thank God you went to college for all this stuff and have so much hands-on experience, because even though I've been doing it for like 8 years, I strategically do not pay attention to those important details, so I don't have to worry about
strategically.
it.
It's like how I strategically am awful at laundry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, where did I might have heard this in the past and forgot. Where did the name Sif Pop come from?
Sifting through pop culture was
that's all it is? Okay.
Yeah, it's the idea of how gold miners use a sifting process to find nuggets of gold. And so we sift pop culture for the nuggets of gold.
And where did shoe the dough come from?
It's a spoonerism for do the show. I know all these answers. Because you're leaving for vacation.
How are you not interested in the weather? Everybody's interested in the weather.
I'm always interested in the
Weather is like, if I have to small talk, which I hate, if I have to small talk, it better be about weather, because that actually matters. You know what I mean? Like that has an impact.
Does it?
I am excited about vacation though, because this is kind of our kickoff for fall, because we always go to Disney for fall break, and we go to we do Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween.
Oh, nice.
So it's just kind of a nice kick. And then I'm actually going to go. There's a couple other families that are going. We're not all going together, but we're all just going to be there at the same time.
That's like what you tell somebody when you kind of don't want to date them, but you sort of can't say no. It's like, yeah, we'll just go there and be there at the same time. It's not like we're committed to each other. We're just sort of accidentally going to be at the party at the same time, and then maybe we can hang out.
No. We're definitely hanging. No, we're all really good friends. I just meant like we didn't all plan it together. Well, actually, this year we did more so than most, because we just kind of discovered that we all tend to go around the same time. So we just kind of started making it a thing where like, let's just go at the same time.
Next thing you know, there's keys in a bowl at the front door, and who knows what's going on vacation.
No.
Jonathan's like, no.
This is a legit thing. Like, even if you were like just somebody that wanted to have an affair, who has time to have an affair? I've never been able to understand this. And people have like multiple families. How are you doing this?
You've thought about this a lot.
Yeah, it's just Jonathan's not morally opposed. It's just too much work, man.
No, I am definitely morally opposed. But even if you weren't, it is definitely too much work. Like, I don't understand the logistics of it, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, let me explain it to you, Jonathan.
On the left side, a picture of a man. On the right side, a picture of a woman. Or a man and a woman and a woman. So I'm already in the Discord chat.
Of course you are.
And I just want a quick update on my adventure to find a snack closet. There was a suggestion from Schadenfreude to make it like a D&D map. So I just think what a fun D&D like adventure. And then he said Danae in the search for the talk closet. I just think that'd be really fun.
There are tots in the snack closet?
Heck yeah!
Well, how do you keep perishable food in the snack closet?
Oh, there's always somebody in there making fresh tots for you whenever you want.
Our snack closet is amazing.
I know. I know. No, there was a discussion about that too. About people bringing things when they come to Sin Week, and that tots don't travel well.
That's true.
No.
Yeah. Either kind.
Even lukewarm potato products are not good.
But aren't chips always lukewarm?
Okay, fine. Stuff you actually have to cook, I guess. And prepare.
I just
like you would want a cold baked potato.
Yeah, no, you're right about that.
I quit.
Don't quit. I'm going to talk about my own issues with thinking I should quit later in the show.
Get it?
Why?
Oh, just, my crippling self-doubt.
Just that little thing.
Yeah. No, I've been here over 2 years with that. You're good.
I don't know. I've only been here for a few months, so I guess I'm my monster. Did you fight your self-doubt monster
This
yet,
is where
Aaron?
I stay silent. I am the worst. I don't
you
deal
love
with
yourself so
I really
much.
do. I don't. I'm the worst. I do not deal with that. I don't know why it is. I'm not just putting up a front. I promise. The self-doubt thing is just not something that happens to me.
So you work for yourself, Aaron?
Yes.
So is that
well,
why
I work
you
for CinemaSins, but yeah.
But you're self-employed. You've been self-employed.
I do self-employed
before.
stuff. Yes.
Yeah. So in your office, does it have a picture of you employee of the month every month?
I'm not like that. I just don't have the internal thing that most artists have. I listen to artists talk about this all the time on the podcast I listen to about, having to stay out of comment sections because it feeds that, self-doubt and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just like, I don't know if it's how I was raised. I don't know if it's an arrogance thing. I don't feel like I'm better than anybody. I don't put stock in what those voices, you know what I mean? I don't know.
That's my problem. I listen to the voices a lot.
Yeah.
We have really long conversations in the shower.
I don't know. I feed the positive voices.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
It's weird. I hate talking about it because I sound like such an arrogant person.
No. For those of us that know you, we know that's not who you are.
Yeah.
I personally have been hanging out with you, working with you for long enough. I know.
I don't know if it's a matter of age, but the older I get less, and I get more and more annoyed and exhausted with tribalism in all its forms. The idea of teaming up and then going against each other. I mean, when I was a kid, it was all, Coke versus Pepsi and Ford versus Chevy. And, that tribalism isn't new. And certainly within the environment I grew up in, it was, Christians versus non-Christians or, businesses that do this or do that. It's always been around. Yeah. I just more and more, I'm just like, can we look for the unity instead of the division? Is that hard? Can we just change our perspective? But
and I don't mean to get into sports, but I did want to say I was so rooting for the Lions yesterday. You guys are good, though.
They might actually have a good team. I don't know what's going on.
That was impressive. And as a Raiders fan, the Chiefs are in my division, so obviously I wanted them to lose.
Right.
So I was just like, go Stafford.
But I want them to lose. They're in my division, but I want them to lose.
You can figure it out.
Well, because you want the team.
Hold on, Jonathan. I want her to figure this out. You can figure this out today. You can figure this out. They're my division, but I want them to lose.
All right. So first we draw a line on the paper.
Okay.
And we have an us at the top and a my down here.
Okay.
This is my division on this side, and this is their division on that side. No, so this is a them up here, and this is
you're not getting there.
Here's the question.
You're not getting there, Danae. You're not.
How would you win? How would you win your division?
How many are in my division?
6 teams.
In this case, 4.
4.
So you got
including your team.
This is my division, and I want them all to lose.
Not them all.
So it's these. So it's the upper people against the bottom people.
No.
If you want to win, how would you win your division? If there was 14, if you're one of 4 teams.
Okay, well, first I'd have a potluck, and everyone would get together. We would all unify. We'd have games, probably movies. I'm sure some people would want to have some drinks. A lot of fun.
Right.
And then we'd all leave hand in hand and talk about how amazing an experience that was, and we would all win because we'd be all happy.
She really doesn't have the competitive gene. It just does not exist inside her brain.
How many divisions are there?
Which one?
In the
College or pro?
NFL, there are 8. There's 4 in each conference. There's divisions. There's 2 conferences. There's
And
8
one league.
divisions, and there's 1 league. So you're trying to win your division, then you're trying to win your conference, and then you're trying to win your league.
Huh. Okay.
That's just football. I mean, it's different, but they're all basically set up similarly.
How is there not an Explain Sports to Danae podcast?
This is
amazing. All right, let's chat about something else from the world of pop culture.
Why did you start laughing?
I thought you started laughing.
No, Danae snickered or something. Didn't you?
No.
Oh, damn.
No,
I just started and all of a sudden I hear Jonathan cracking up in the background.
I thought I heard like a or something like in the background.
I was truly entertained though because I wanted to say something snarky like, no, let's go back.
Oh, I got you.
But so maybe you just knew that I was sitting here smiling. It was like you were actually with
every
us.
week I get excited and I always forget to do it. But like whenever you say the go to the comments section, I always want to just yell out, "I'm the ball licker," but because that's one of our outtakes or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But I forget.
We are the ball lickers.
We are the ball licker. Yeah, I forget every week. But one of these weeks I'll remember.
Now it's there, and we have new entry for both you and Danae on the soundboard.
Yes.
So it works well on the non-existent soundboard that I apparently don't have time to put together.
Nice. Okay. Well, that wasn't awkward. Okay.